Welcome back, listeners, to the Shadowy Figures of the Aztec Theater, a supernatural thriller where history, hauntings, and the weight of unspoken stories intertwine in the heart of downtown San Antonio. In today's chapter, The Shepherd's Hour, morning breaks over the city, but there's no peace for Luis. After another long, unsettling night in the Aztec Theater, he seeks refuge in the one place that's always offered him a kind of grace: the quiet halls of the Marianist administrative offices. There, an old mentor, Father Fisher, listens patiently as Luis finally gives voice to the strange things he's been seeing, hearing, feeling. Cold spots, flickering lights, whispers from the past. Are they signs of something haunted? Or something holy? Maybe both. And in this early hour, amid incense and echoes, we begin to uncover a deeper mystery. A connection to a long-dead Marianist brother. The idea of thin places, where the veil between worlds wears dangerously thin, and a new character, Clara Gonzalez, who just might hold the key to uncovering the theater's hidden past. Before we dive in, if you're enjoying this eerie ride through shadow and spirit, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. That way, you won't miss the next chilling chapter as Luis ventures deeper into a history that refuses to stay buried. Now, settle in, breathe deep, and listen closely, because some spirits? They're just waiting for someone to tell their story.
Chapter 4. The Shepherd's Hour. The night had gone, and the gentle morning light slowly bathed downtown San Antonio. The sun wasn't harsh yet, but Luis knew it would be. It always was in June. That golden calm would be short-lived. Soon, the city would sizzle, its sidewalks baking and buses wheezing as they crawled up and down Commerce. But for now, downtown breathed quietly. The buildings cast long shadows across the stone streets. The silence wasn't comforting. It was eerie. Luis stepped out of the Aztec Theater's side door, his canvas satchel slung over one shoulder. Behind him, the metal gate clanged shut with finality, the latch clicking like the last sentence of a confession. Jorge and Marco gave lazy waves from the curb, already mid-argument about a soccer match from the night before. Luis didn't wave back. He just nodded, distracted, and turned away, pulling his collar up against the morning breeze. He wasn't ready to go home. Not to Eva. Not to the silence she'd learned to weaponize so efficiently. Instead, he crossed Crockett Street, his boots echoing on the uneven pavement, and slipped quietly through the side entrance of the Marianist administrative building tucked behind St. Mary's Cathedral. The door groaned open, reluctant. Inside, the air smelled of incense, lemon polish, and something older, like mildew that had been prayed over for decades. The building was nearly empty at this hour. Only one office at the end of the hallway had a light on. Luis hesitated outside the door before knocking. Then he pushed it open.
Father Fisher looked exactly like he had back when Luis was a high school junior with too many detentions and not enough direction. His once dark beard was now almost fully gray, and his glasses looked like they belonged to a different decade. But he still wore the same brown cardigan, the same expression of permanent concern mixed with just a dash of amusement. He didn't look surprised to see him. "Luis," he said, voice warm but unyielding. "We missed you at Mass again." Luis gave a sheepish grin and closed the door behind him. "I know, Father. I meant to go last Sunday, but my shift ran late. I didn't get home until 10. Eva was already mad." Father Fisher leaned back in his chair, crossing his arms over his chest. "Ah yes, the ever-blessed sacrament of cohabitation."
Luis chuckled nervously.
"It's complicated." "Sin usually is," Fisher said, then waved a hand.
"I'm kidding."
"Sort of. See, you look like you've seen a ghost." Luis sank into the threadbare visitor's chair across the desk. "I think I might have." That got the priest's attention. He leaned forward, his eyes narrowing behind the thick lenses. "Tell me." And so Luis did. The words spilled out faster than he expected. He told him about the strange blue lights that pulsed through the chandelier like breath. The sounds, footsteps in empty hallways, whispers near the projection booth. The coldness that sometimes settled into his bones like winter, even though the air was still humid and hot. "I haven't seen a face or anything," he said. "Not directly, but something's there, watching, listening." Like, like it's waiting. Father Fisher didn't laugh. He didn't dismiss it. He simply closed his eyes and exhaled slowly. You didn't speak to it? He asked. Luis shook his head.
No.
I just felt it, heard things, saw flickers, and this a pressure in the air, like being underwater but standing still. Fisher opened a drawer and pulled out a cloth-bound book. The pages were edged with gold leaf, though it was worn from decades of handling. He flipped through it slowly. The Aztec Theater was built in 1926, he said, half to himself. Same year Father Callahan's journals stopped. Interesting. Callahan, Marianist brother. He taught at Central Catholic before my time. He was an usher at the Aztec as a teenager. I remember someone mentioning that he kept seeing odd things. Patterns in the lights, voices in the old organ pipes. He called it a thin place. Luis leaned back. I knew it. I knew if anyone would believe me, it would be you. Fisher closed the book and looked at him squarely. Luis, I've always believed you, even back when you were one fight away from expulsion. Remember sophomore year?
Luis laughed softly.
How could I forget? I was failing algebra, skipping class, had detention 3 times a week. My foster mom was working 2 jobs and her asshole husband used to beat on her and me. I was just trying to keep from getting jumped outside our apartment. And still, Fisher said, you showed up. You never gave up. You had grit. That's why I pushed for the scholarship. The administration didn't want to give it to you. Said you were a risk. Luis looked down, blinking fast. That scholarship changed everything. I was on a path to nowhere. You gave me a chance. Fisher smiled. I didn't give it to you. I just reminded them who you were. You did the rest. A long pause settled between them. I owe you, Luis said, his voice quiet. Not just for the scholarship. For all of it. For giving me the space to not become what everyone expected. The priest nodded, expression softening. And yet you're still trying to carry the world on your back.
Luis groaned.
I'm drowning, Father. Between the theater, the night shifts, Eva's mad, school's demanding. I'm sleeping maybe 4 hours a night. I don't know how to keep this going. Have you been praying?
Luis hesitated.
I don't know how to pray about this. I mean, do you even pray when you think there's a ghost haunting your workplace? You pray when you're lost. You pray when you're found. It's not about what you say, Luis. It's about making room for God to answer. I'm trying, he said. But it's hard. It always is, Father Fisher replied. Faith isn't about convenience. It's commitment. Luis looked down. I haven't been to Mass in 3 weeks. I noticed. And Eva's right. I'm not around. Not really. Even when I'm home, I'm somewhere else. Father Fisher leaned forward again, his voice low and firm. Then come back. Even if it's just 15 minutes in the pew. You don't have to impress God. Just show up. Luis nodded, feeling a swell of guilt and comfort all at once. Fisher softened. There's a reason we keep sanctuary lights burning, even when the church is empty. Luis smiled faintly. So we know we're never really alone. Exactly. Silence returned for a moment before Fisher tapped the book again. If the theater really is a thin place, you may be seeing echoes, fragments of pain or memory left behind. Not all hauntings are hostile. Some are just stuck. What do I do in the meantime? I want you to visit the Central Library, he said. There's a woman there, Clara Gonzalez.
She's a Paris Hunter.
Eccentric? Yes, but brilliant. Tell her I sent you. Ask for anything about the Aztec between 1926 and 1940. Employee records, building permits, obits, newspaper articles. If something happened there, she'll find it. Tell her everything? Tell her only what she needs. Just enough to get her curious. Luis stood slowly, feeling lighter and heavier at the same time. He reached for the door, then stopped. Father. Yes. If there is a ghost, if that's what it is, what do you think it wants? Fisher glanced toward the crucifix above the doorway, his gaze thoughtful. Some spirits are angry, some are confused, but the ones that linger the longest. He looked Luis straight in the eye. They're the ones with stories that never got told. And so, Luis leaves his meeting with Father Fisher not just with a blessing, but with a mission. If the Aztec Theater truly is a thin place, then the past may not be as silent as it seems. But what kind of story is trying to be heard? And why now? In the next chapter, Luis follows a trail through the stacks of the San Antonio Central Library, where history and haunting begin to blur, and a curious librarian named Clara Gonzalez may hold the key to secrets buried for nearly a century. Don't miss what happens next. If you enjoyed this chapter of the Shadowy Figures of the Aztec Theater, be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel so you never miss an episode. Thanks for listening, and until next time, keep your eyes open. Some stories are still being written in the shadows.